one of the things SCCA tries to do, we certainly have in the runoffs and throughout the national program and the regional program, classes for very high-tech, quite expensive cars if you want, but they also want to have a class that allows drivers to get into some high-performance racing at a relatively low cost. And joined by Bart Wolf and Barty, Formula Enterprises, that was exactly the concept.
Well, I think they hit the nail right on the head. I actually had an opportunity to drive one of these, and they are really, really fun. The 2300cc Mazda-powered Formula car really does a great job. Thrust to weight ratio are just amazing.
And basically, it's the engines are sealed. It is completely spec. The only adjustments on the car are suspension adjustments. Obviously, it's got wings that you can make some adjustments on there. But the concept is you can't go into a wind tunnel and spend a boatload of money to come up with new aero bits, and you can't go into an engine shop and throw a ton of money at an engine to build power. That is all to a exact same spec for everybody. It puts the onus on the driver and not so much on the checkbook. That's a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. If you look at the expense of racing, it could just get out of control, and this is one way of combating that and having a serious, full-blown race car. I mean, these things are not slow by any means, and a lot of fun to drive. Sequential gearboxes, so all the latest technology built in. The race front wing actually kind of looks a little F1-esque.
All right, well, as we take a look here, you can see the beautiful scenery here at Road America in the Kettle Moraine Forest, and the skies right now, a bit of a mix. Let's check in with John Bizignana, who's out in those elements.
Well, as you can see, the wind is still a very important element of this race day here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. I stopped at the Sheboygan County Airport this morning. I love saying that word, Sheboygan. It just tastes good. But anyway, yesterday, sustained gusts of over 50 miles an hour. We're down to 25 miles an hour now, but today when I came through the gates, it was 47 degrees here in Elkhart Lake. So, of course, that certainly affects the wind chill. But the track temperature and the tire temperatures, that's very sensitive. When these Formula Enterprise cars were practicing and qualifying, the lowest temperature that they saw was 64 degrees. That's what the cars were set up for: wings, suspension, shock absorbers, everything. So now they're somewhat in a guessing mood. Sure, the track's going to warm up a little bit, but the surface of the track, the temperature of the tires, the grip of the tires, everything is an unknown. I think for the first few laps they're going to be slipping and sliding around here in Elkhart Lake. Back to you guys.
John, and by the way, you are looking très chic this morning, my man. That is a fine-looking chapeau. Great to see it, and of course, all in the pursuit of warmth down there. It is brisk outside, as he mentioned, and that will certainly have an effect. The wind, I mean, all day yesterday, Bart, we've even seen it this morning with that first race that just came off for T2. People are still down the front straight trying to get right up against that pit wall to try and negate as much of that wind. And whenever you've got cars that are aero-dependent, that wind plays a huge role.
Oh, yeah. And it's kind of like an F-duct in Formula One where you can kind of stall the rear wing, but getting that close to the wall definitely flex some air over, and you maybe pick up a mile or two an hour on the straightaway, which, as a racer, you would do just about anything for.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's take a look at the starting lineup quickly, as the cars will be heading out on their pace and parade lap, so we don't need to rush through it here. In this one, by the way, before we get to that, we do have a Super Sweep eligible driver, and again, the Super Sweep concept here, it is one of the toughest things you will ever win, to be sure. Because there are 4 components to it, not a one of them is easy in any way, shape, or form. First of all, you have to win your divisional points championship in your class. Secondly, there is a national point structure that they have created within each category. You have to top that at season's end. Then you need to win one of 9 key races. There's one in each of the 9 divisions, and you can any of them, but you have to win one of them, and then you also have to win the runoff. So each one of those things is very tough indeed. The runoffs, toughest of all. But if you get it, it is a very special, very prestigious, and very sought-after award that the Sports Car Club of America has created here. And Scott Reddick, who is your pole sitter, the number 17 out of Camden, Ohio, the Hippie Racing Wine Country Motorsports FE, he is eligible for that award at this point. What a season he's had on a couple of different levels. One, by the way, he won the sprints in both this class and Spec Racer Ford where he's running. He won the Spec Racer Ford Pro Series Championship. He took a second in the Formula Enterprises Pro Series Championship, all the while managing to squeeze 7 wins in national competition to get him qualified for the runoff. Not a bad season.
Not at all. That's pretty amazing. He's really, really had a great season. And the other thing that helps, it starts building on itself, is you just keep driving. And the more seat time you have, the more comfortable you get. And all of a sudden you stop thinking so much about what's going on around you, and it just becomes second nature. And I think that's where you really start to accelerate your program.
Well, he certainly has done that. Now, the other thing, too, we've been talking about every class, it seems, we're talking about a Mazda in it somewhere. Well, one of the reasons is it's Mazda support, and every one of these drivers is eligible for the Mazda shootout. We'll talk about that in a minute. Here's your starting lineup again. Scott Reddick on the pole, absolutely great effort. He was on the pole here last year, by the way, for the Runoffs. 33, Matt Mayer out of Miami, Florida. He, too, has had a good season, a couple of wins in his Valvoline entry. Then the 00 of Patrick Gallagher, if that name sounds familiar, it's because he won the Formula 5 championship yesterday and is going out in this one in his CTL engineering entry. 3 wins in this class, third in division with a win this season. Number 3 will start 4th. That's Tyler Walsh out of Excelsior, Minnesota. He is a Sendiv driver. 4 wins on his way to the championship in Central Division this year. 2 wins already this season right here at Road America, so track knowledge playing in big for him. The defending champ is sitting in the 5th spot, number 91, Nick Evans. He really hasn't done any racing in this category this year, very limited to be sure, but as the defending champ, he got an automatic invite. He has been focusing on a Pro MX5 Cup series run this season past and did very well in that, and we'll talk more about that as it's all tied into that Mazda shootout. Starting 6th will be number 69, Brian Novak out of Dearborn, Michigan, the 2007 Formula 500 champ, and moving into the Formula Enterprise cars in his AIM data entry. Then starting 7th will be 27, Dean Opperman out of Plainfield, Illinois, 2nd in the Central Division, a couple of wins this year. Starting 8th will be number 23, Jason Wolf. That's an E on the end, no relation to my partner here. Mount Vernon, Ohio, in his J Motorsports entry. 2nd in the Great Lakes Division with a couple of wins this year. Starting 9th, number 29, Keith Carter out of Tinley Park, Illinois. He, too, runs in the Central Division. 7th in the points there this year in the Carter Machine and Design entry. Starting 10th will be number 6, Steve Stottle out of Scales Mound, Illinois. He's driving the Global Emergency Products entry. 3rd in the Central Division this year with a win and 4 podiums. Starting 11th is number 31, Matt Schneider out of Lexington, Kentucky. The J Motorsports entry, 4th in the Great Lakes Division this year with a number of podiums. Starting 12th, number 5, Jay Lehman out of Gutenberg, Iowa, in the One Formula Racing entry, 8th in Central Division this year. Starting 13th, number 4, Karl Przborowski out of River Forest, Illinois, One Formula Racing, his team, 4th in Central Division this year. Starting in the 14th spot will be Keith McDonald. He is number 10 out of Ranson, West Virginia. He was 3rd in the Northeastern Division this year with 4 podiums. And then your last row will be the number 22 of Denny Markline out of Dodgeville, Wisconsin, the Markline Auto Body entry, 6th in Central Division, and the 66 of Joseph Sturm out of Neenah, Wisconsin, in the Lammers and McMahon Group Formula Enterprise, 5th in the Central Division this year. Denny Markline, a longtime competitor in this area. It started off in he's run prod cars, he's run spec racer Fords, he's run a number of different machines, and great to have him here. And what I was talking about, Bart, this Mazda shootout, and this is why we're seeing Mazdas, so many Mazdas that are now at the club racing level, and it's because Mazda really believes in supporting these teams at a grassroots level. Any driver here in FE is eligible for the Mazda shootout. If they get chosen, they can go to that. It is being determined where that is going to unfold. And as a matter of fact, last year's Runoffs winner in this class, Nick Evans, parlayed that shot, went to the Mazda shootout, and put everything together, and he used that to sort of leverage himself in a great way. And that's what got him that MX-5 Pro Series ride. So lots on the line here. You know, certainly the gold medal. You know, you win a Runoffs gold, that's something you've got forever. But there's this, and also there's $1.6 million in contingency that's available from all the companies that are involved that are putting up money if you run their products here. So there's a lot on the line for these drivers.
And that's such a great program for Mazda to be doing. I love their support of racing, and there needs to be a ladder system because there are some very, very good drivers, as we've seen so far this weekend and throughout the weekend, and they're very capable of making the next step. And this way it gives them an opportunity to showcase their talents and have a captive audience looking to move them up into racing, higher levels of racing.
Right, and they back that. I mean, you've got this class, but you've got the Mazda-powered Cooper F2000 series. You've also got Star Mazda, and you could take that right up to the ALMS prototype program that Mazda supports. So there definitely is a path. And the path right now is for Formula Enterprises as they take to the track for their pace lap for the Formula Enterprises National Championship. As they left the pre-grid, you had a great head-on shot of that white number 17 of Scott Reddick, a very busy man this year. And it was kind of interesting. A couple of weeks ago at Virginia International Racing, the Pro FV and Pro Spec Racer Ford series had their season finales. And he came in with an absolute shot at both of those Pro Series titles. Ended up winning one in Spec Racer Ford, which we'll see later in the weekend. It's the last race of this weekend, so you'll be able to watch Scott race again there. Ooh, and right there, Matt Mayer locking that right front up a little bit. It's cold out there. It's so crucial right now, Bart, isn't it, to get as much heat in these tires as you can for that run into that first corner.
Well, a big mistake there is you're absolutely right. People don't drag the brake enough, get some heat in there. Another point they were talking about is you don't generate that much heat swerving back and forth, but they need to get every degree of temperature they can in it. You actually get a better scuffing of your tires, and you'll see it in some of these corners. They'll lay back and actually gun it and slide through the corners is where you create the heat. But the other reason for just the swerving back and forth is, if you think about it, you've got shock oils, you've got gearbox oils. You need to heat all that stuff up in addition to your brakes, which is the most crucial thing.
Yeah, when it's this cold, it's tough to get all those components warmed up, and so you do it. Also, you'll see them do that, if there's a caution or whatever, and some of that is just to keep the tires clean. These racing slicks, when they do get hot, pick up junk very easily, and as David Hobbs would call it, clag. And you want to get that stuff off of those tires so that they are in good shape. And the nice thing here is you do have opportunity, if you can lay back just a little bit on this pace lap with 4 miles, 14 counted corners, to be able to get some speed, get a run through a couple of turns, and try and build a little bit of that heat up. And by the way, I did want to mention, I mentioned that $1.6 million contingency program. That is a record. So things are looking on the up. National class entries are up across the board this year pretty much. So this form of racing is on a rebound, economy and all, and that is great to see. Over 600 entries here at the Runoffs. It's fantastic, and we are thrilled to be able to bring you the coverage this year on SpeedcastTV.com. Globally, it's out on the web, so it doesn't really matter. We know there are some people down right now in Mexico at the VW Jetta TDI Cup that have this tuned in and are watching down there, and it's great to have this kind of reach right now. They're the corner workers. That's standard procedure, giving the drivers a thumbs up on the pace and parade laps. Also gives the drivers an eyeball as to where the workers are, should there be an issue, if they need to pull over, as to where to do it. And that is down in turn 8, just one of the great corners on this track. 4 miles. It is as challenging as it gets, and that's what makes it special.
And I think your point about the national numbers being up really attests to how passionate these drivers are about racing. I think, we haven't been in the greatest economy in the last 2 to 3 years, and I think a lot of maybe family vacations have been cut, and there's been a lot of sacrifices just to make it here and to make it to these nationals. And obviously it's very important to them and their families, and they found a way to do it.
Well, that's a good point, isn't it? This is very much a family sport. I mean, there's the driver in the car. We've talked before about the crews and all that, but the number of people that the whole family comes to this, you travel, you do all of that, and it's just a great family experience. The spouse and the kids might even work on the car and help out, and it's very much a way to keep a family together and doing things. And it makes for an awfully friendly, warm paddock as well when you wander through it and visit all these great people.
Oh, it's neat. Our neighbor in the paddock this weekend's got probably a 2 or 3 year old son, and I like to help him out helping his dad. I just give him a hammer and then send him over and help his dad work on the car.
So he drives the sports too, then?
No. Formula Mazda.
Oh, okay. And by the way, folks, look at this camera shot when this moves. This is the glory of a fall day at Road America. Yeah, it is brisk out there, about 50 degrees, and it is windy. But look at this with the changing color in the trees and the sunlight bouncing around down there in that part of the track through Thunder Alley and up through the Billy Mitchell Bend. That is about as beautiful as it gets, and it's going to get one step better because pretty soon those yellows are going to drop, and we are going to go green flag racing for 13 laps in pursuit of a national championship here in Formula Enterprises, the 47th running of SCCA's National Championship Runoffs presented by Subway, and Formula E is about to get underway. This one should be fun.
It was just interesting watching them as they pull up how many cars actually opted for sticker tires. Usually you want to get a heat cycle on them or a scuff, but they might have once again taken a gamble and gone with a softer tire than they anticipated for this race.
Well, we're going to find out how that gamble paid off. The pace car is in the field, led by that white number 17 of Scott Reddick. bringing them up the hill. That is a pretty sight indeed. Every one of these cars identical, except maybe in some setting changes with the wings, the suspension, the tire selection. But what it does is it gives the drivers a chance, and we are green. Formula Enterprises is underway. Reddick gets a little bit of a jump over Matt Mayer. That yellow Formula E up on the outside. Reddick right down the inside. Look at Matt. He wanted to make sure, one, that he got a toe, two, not give up any more spots. A bit of jostling behind. But everybody now getting to turn one. About 4 or 5 cars back. We've got them side by each through one. But so far, everything looking good. And Reddick with Mayer right in tow. Big look there down the inside and some serious lockup back in the pack. But so far, Barty, it looks like everybody has been able to get through those first couple of quarters clean.
And that was great, just the start itself. You got to remember they're all the same horsepower, same gearing. So for him to get a jump like that, excellent, excellent job. I think unfortunately whoever locked up their brakes in the back might have a little bit long race if you get a thumping in that steering wheel.
Yeah, not good at all. Look at this great racing side by side through that corner, close proximity stuff. I think that might be the 91 of Nick Evans starting to move up just a little bit. He qualified 5th, and again has not had a lot of seat time in these cars this year. But up front, Matt Mayer, even though Reddick really looked to be in pretty good control here, had a great qualifying lap, over a second quicker than the rest of the field, which is quite unusual in one of these spec classes. Mayer has answered, at least here in the early going, as both he and Reddick have opened it up just a little bit over the rest of the field.
And that's a true indication of how comfortable a driver is with the car. And cold tires are very, very difficult. Opening laps, as we saw yesterday in the PSI, very crucial. And obviously they're pushing it just as hard as they can. They might have just a little bit more wing in to help that out, but they're doing a great job.
It's got to be on, as you said, cold tires opening lap, the carousel and the kink. That's got to be some serious commitment. You're dialed up there to go flying through there absolutely flat out through that section of track.
It's really a man versus man issue.
Whoa, somebody running way wide at the exit of 12, but once again now having that little bit of extra pavement on the backside of the rumble strips allows you to get that straightened out just a little bit, and then maybe, even though you may run through the dirt at the exit of it, at least you're straight and able to deal with it. Take a look here as Mayer getting a great run in the toe of Reddick as they come by, start, finish, 1 lap down of 13 here at the Runoffs. It is Walsh, Tyler Walsh, up into the 3rd spot. Novak sits in 4th. And look at Mayer, tucked in close, not quite close enough to make anything happen. Nick Evans sits in the 5th spot, and Gallagher has slipped back to 6th, and somebody way wide at the exit of turn 1. But again, that's another area where they've thrown down some of that runoff pavement, if you will, and that has really allowed drivers, if you do make that little bit of a mistake, you're still going to lose a time and maybe a couple of spots, but at least you don't drop off into the gravel and get parked.
Yeah, that usually ruins your day. I hate it when it happens, speaking from experience. But
Mayer taking a look, Barty. And he is down and through, down into turn 5, that downhill braking zone. And he got in there very strongly and wasn't on the preferred line in terms of speed, but still got out of that turn. And Reddick not quite able to answer, try any other kind of a move.
Boy, just amazing job under brakes. Both cars are threshold braking, and obviously he just waited a little bit longer and did it a little bit better, and that's what facilitated that.
Nicely done. Mayer now into the lead through turn 8. Reddick watching him go, but they have opened up already a nice little margin. It was only 2/10 when they came by. It was about 2 seconds between Mayer and Walsh here at start-finish. So these two guys right now are opening it up just a little bit. Their qualifying times would certainly indicate that scenario, just as the fact that Reddick and Mayer, again, there was a gap between Reddick and Mayer of some note, and obviously Mayer, whatever he and the crew were able to do, they were able to come up with an answer, and then a little bit of a gap back to Gallagher, Tyler Walsh, Nick Evans, and the rest of the pack. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But right now, Reddick didn't particularly fight that pass by Mayer. Do you think maybe he said, I'm going to let him through and just see what the track has to offer right now?
Not a bad idea. I mean, they are longer races, so if you can just follow each other, pull out a gap, so at the end of the race, you're battling just one car instead of a train of 5. Because, boy, you see it in the V races and some of the other ones, you can go from 3rd to 8th in one corner. So,
and there we go. They come by completing lap 2 again as they come by. Walsh But Evans has gone around Novak now and has picked up that 4th spot, so Brian Novak has slipped back into 5th. Here's that battle right here between Walsh and Evans. Walsh in that orange and black car, and Evans right behind him in that all-black car. And then you've got Novak and Gallagher, and then Wolf in that trio battling for what would essentially be now that 5th spot. So really what we're watching right now between Walsh and Evans is the battle for the final medal on the podium, that bronze medal. And Evans taking a look around the outside of Walsh, which if he can get up there and make it stick, should put him down the inside into turn 5. There go the leaders. Here we go. Evans has got that inside, and let's see if he can make it stick. Walsh looking to do the outside in move and try something. Not going to happen, as Evans covered that beautifully on the exit. And that's part of the process of making a pass like that. You get the pass done on the entry. You've got to make sure you don't let the guy get a run on you on the exit. There's an art to this.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. He actually made it look easy, but a lot of the times you can come in too deep, try to wait too long to break the car, and by then you're going to overslow it, miss your apex, and the guy's going to do the over-under and come back on you. And he executed it perfectly. That was great.
Great racing throughout the field. There's a look at the 69 of Novak, as we said, who's running in the 5th spot with the 00 Gallagher and the 23 of Wolf right behind him. Now, the interesting thing is with Evans getting around Walsh, does Walsh now fall back into the grasp of this group? And it looks like he just might be. That trio of cars, Novak, Gallagher, and Wolf, are closing up, not just on Walsh, but Evans as well. And there it is. I mean, this is going to become a 5-car battle for that podium spot, that final podium spot, I think in pretty short order, as those two leaders continue to run away. Wolf running a little wide there once again at the exit of Canada Corner. Novak is an interesting story. Ooh, that was Walsh running. Whoa! Big spin right there. And I think that may be Walsh, the number 3. Can't check for sure. We'll have to take a look, see what happens when they come by here. Evans, Walsh. No, it was Gallagher. It was Gallagher, our Formula 500 national champ, having that bit of a moment. And here comes Walsh, closing up, taking a look at the back of Evans. Not quite close enough to be able to make anything happen. And Novak, though, is quickly joining that group. Boy, these guys are going cut and thrust. Absolutely furious racing here. And it looks to me like, did Evans make a mistake? Because Walsh has gone right back around, and Novak now all over the back of Evans. So Evans, obviously, some error there in that turn 1, section 1 to 2. Must have perhaps run a little bit wide, just lost something.
It doesn't take much with all these cars having same horsepower, same essential setup. All it does is one little mistake and allows them to creep up on you and get the pass.
Kind of tough to miss gears these days in these cars with the gearboxes and the like, and the sequential. But whoa, big lockup, and that may have been the problem. Evans is off, and maybe he was having some sort of a brake issue, a bias issue, or whatever, because he just locked it up and he is buried in the gravel. And it'll be interesting to see whether this brings out a full course caution, Bart, and obviously exactly not what Reddick and Mayer want to see. But for our defending national champion in Formula Enterprises, his day may well be done, even if they get him out. Watch him here. Well, it looked like that rear's locked up.
Yeah, it was tough to tell if the smoke trailed off from the front to the rear, but there is a dip under that bridge there, but he was on the brakes well before it, and I think he had lockup there. I think you're right. He probably had a brake issue, and he was strong the other laps under braking, I think.
Something developed. Nonetheless, he is sitting in the gravel. We are watching start-finish, and we can see the platform, and it appears we may well be going full course yellow. We have gone full course yellow. We are double yellow here at the Formula Enterprise National Championship. And for Mayer and Reddick, they're shaking their heads going, oh, we had this one down to the two of us. We're going to settle this battle. And now it's going to bring everybody, Walsh, Novak, Wolf, Carter, Gallagher, the gang, right back into play here. And they don't have to use up their cars much to do it. So that's going to make things very interesting here. But I'm very impressed with the ride that Mayer has put together here. Matt Mayer out of Miami, Florida. Wasn't even sure if he was going to be able to make the runoffs, and I'm sure he's awfully glad that he did at this point, because he's leading Formula Enterprises.
definitely validates his decision to make it. That's pretty amazing.
Now, the one good thing here is if we talked about how good the EV crews here are at Road America, and this might at least, if they get to Evans and get him pulled out of the gravel quickly and he doesn't lose a lap, he might at least be in this with a shot at being able to still post a decent finish here at Road America. So we are now under a full course caution. Here is the current top 10 in the race to the Formula Enterprises National Championship at the SCCA National Championship Runoffs presented by Subway. Mayer leads it as we are under caution. Reddick and Walsh currently would be the medalists. Then Novak and Wolf complete the top 5. Carter, Gallagher, Schneider, Markline, and Steve Stadl will round out the top 10. Denny Markline up from 15th to 9th. A great drive. We're going to take a quick break while we're under full course caution. Lots more action to go here as we have completed only 4 laps of 13. So when we come back, more great racing in Formula Enterprises here at Road America on SpeedcastTV.com.
The 2010 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Subway, is brought to you by Mazda, Black Magic Car Care Products, Gumout, and Robinson Motorsports.
Forget the rock. Let's roll. Follow your inner driver to the all-new 2011 Mazda 2. It's Zoom Zoom. Concentrated.
Kid, where you been?
Just got back from an SCCA event.
Really?
Yeah, SCCA has more than 2,000 events every year.
Serious?
Go to SCCA.com and find people in your area that drive fast and get their hands dirty. And you don't have to be a supercar to compete.
So I go to SCCA.com, sign up, and I can start competing?
It's that easy.
So they've got the car now. They're tied down to the back of the car, attached to the wrecker so it doesn't swing too much, and everybody will be exiting the scene. So I wonder if they're going to, we still might be able to get this one going. It all comes down to those pace car lights, and if they're on down in the turn 12, 13 area, we'll probably have to do another lap. If they're off, we might be able to get to green. They're going to have to hustle to get that car down that hill and into the cutout there at 5.
And they usually don't go opposite race, so I would suspect they'd go towards the Johnsonville Bridge.
Yeah, and there you have it. You are
there's a nice
correct.
cutout there.
Lights are out, so nice job. Again, the EV crews here working in concert with SCCA race officials, as we said, to try and preserve as much racing as we can. Just down past the exit of 8, there's by the bridge, there's a great big access road that they can just turn in and get that car right off the track. So we're going back to racing, so things are going to get a little bit more fast and furious here. We'll be completing lap 6 of a scheduled 13. Have to see what this does in terms of the time. The pace these cars run, they're easily within that 40-minute mark, so maybe we'll be able to get all of these laps in, and that's what we'd like to have. So it's Mayer, Redditch, then that orange car of Walsh, the black car of Novak, and then the 23 of a Wolf right now. Those are the top 5, and again, going for 3 medals and, of course, a national champion here at the Runoffs. Mayer brings him around onto the front straight.
This is about the point where your heart rate is going through the ceiling. You got a couple laps in, you got to get this start right, and boy, they're bunched up and ready for it.
Mayer bringing him up, but look at Reddick and Walsh not giving him anything right now. And it's sometimes on these restarts not a great places to be the leader because you can get drafted. But, man, did he do a nice job there. Looked like he waited and went late to the throttle, and it caught Reddick out just a little bit. And here comes Walsh, tucked right in behind. Tyler Walsh thinking about it. Reddick protects to the inside. Tyler pops to the outside. But as they get to turn 1, that little bit of a margin Mayer had, Reddick closes up under braking. A little bit more confident maybe in what he had going into 1, Mayer being a little bit cautious, but he got the job done. He didn't give that lead up by the time they got to 1, and that's job number 1 at this stage, to make sure you don't give that lead up with that draft.
Oh, and great start. You look at the spacing all the way back. Sometimes you'll see the first 4 or 5 cars, and you wonder why the rest aren't right there, and they've obviously watched starts and they've done a great job.
Reddick taking a look down into 5 and goes by deep on those brakes and is through. Now again, he's got to cover the exit. He does that beautifully. Tyler Walsh sits right behind now that yellow air intake of your former leader, Matt Mayer, now sitting in the second spot. Reddick out in front. Then looks like Novak still hanging on to that fourth spot with Wolf in fifth. But Reddick, boy, did he get that pass made and has quickly opened up a couple of car lengths as they fall down through turn 7, through 8, and now into the carousel.
And here you still don't have your tires up to pressure. You know, you start out, if you want to get 21 pounds hot, you're going to start these things out at 14 pounds because of the heat you're going to generate. It's going to grow. So they're still not up to pressure yet. The car isn't feeling optimal here, but yet it's the national championship, so you got to push it.
And it's a matter of confidence. And I mean, Reddick has done so many laps, not just here, but in these cars throughout the year. That can't hurt. Here's a big move. It's Novak down to the inside, underneath Walsh, and Brian Novak is through at Canada Corner. One of the great passing zones on this track. All depends on how well you get through the carousel and the kink. Novak did it beautifully.
And his brakes were just amazing, too. You saw that car dancing around. He was right on the edge of adhesion, but made it stick.
Beautiful job to be sure, and just got the job done. Novak, as I mentioned, a former national champion in 2007, but in the Formula 500 category, in cars that his own company would design. Look at this battle now as Wolf taking a serious run at Walsh as they come by. He didn't have it at the official start-finish line, but he may well have that pass made now as they get down into turn number 1. Oh, way wide goes Walsh, trying to carry that speed, and that indeed allows Wolf through, and Gallagher is right back in the hunt at this point.
It's such a fine line between success and going a little bit wide. And you could see he wasn't even that far wide, but it just breaks your momentum, and the little bit is all they need.
Well, and when you're on the edge, I mean, when you are absolutely on the edge through a corner, it doesn't take much to just push you over that edge, and that is exactly what unfolded there. And, boy, this is some great side-by-side racing. Gallagher now finding a way by Wolf as well. So Patrick Gallagher, after having qualified third, dropped back for a ways. He was outside of the top 5. He, too, was starting to mount a challenge and get right back into this thing. There goes Reddick, the white car, then the yellow car of Mayer, who right now does not seem to have an answer for Reddick, and then Novak. And then look at this. Patrick Gallagher is absolutely in full out attack mode right now. Taking a look at Wolf, didn't get the pass made, but this young man, I think he has decided that whatever, and maybe it was some of those adjustments you talked about during the caution laps, tweaked on the settings on the bars a little bit and the like, and suddenly really likes this car.
And sometimes you'll have a setup that comes in quicker but might start fading towards the end of the race. And, boy, when you get in the sweet spot, there's nothing greater than it. And you got to go. You got to go for it when the car's handling well. And, you know, hopefully by the end you can hang on to it. He's certainly making a go of it.
Here he goes again. Gallagher down the inside, and that is going to push another spot back for that. Boy, what a great drive he has put together here. And see, now the question is does he have anything left here to be able to run down those top 3? Reddick, Mayer, and Novak are now a ways clear as they come out of 14 and climb the hill. There's lots of race left, to be sure, but Gallagher has already opened up that little bit of a margin as Reddick, Mayer, and now Novak come by start-finish. And now Wolf coming up, trying to make another move here as Gallagher firmly into 4th. Wolf, Walsh, Carter, Schneider, Markline, and Opperman. And Patrick Gallagher is clearly the guy on the move. And man, he wasted no time. It didn't hurt him, obviously, that the guys he passed are now getting into that little bit of a battle, Wolf, Walsh, et al. But that certainly has been a nice thing and allowed Gallagher to get a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, and when you're out there battling, you're not using the optimum line. You need to intersect with the turn-in lines and out-braking, so you really hurt your lap times a little bit. Obviously, you want the position, but that's the end result is the front guys are moving away.
Keep an eye on that black car back in 7th. That is Keith Carter, who is starting to mount his own little challenge up through the pack. See him on the outside there, exiting turn 5. These guys, again, just cut and thrust racing up into that very tricky turn 6. There's the 29 of Carter, putting in a nice run with that sort of lime green accents to the car. And boy, did Gallagher run down Brian Novak in a hurry. Did you see down into turn 8 here as they exit? there you just watch up front. Well, they're already out of the shot, but Gallagher has closed up to within maybe 3-4 car lengths already on the back of Novak. There goes Mayer. There's Novak. There's Gallagher. I mean, he has eaten Novak alive here in this first half of the lap, and we now have a battle for that third podium spot. Once again, Gallagher all over the back of Novak, down to the king. Here's Mayer starting to close it up just a little bit, and Novak in full defense mode. Gallagher has to tuck back in, but Gallagher now, he's got a quick buggy underneath him, and he is giving it everything. Look at him bob and weave, just trying to find a way through. Tough to make a pass through the Billy Mitchell bend, and I think Gallagher at the last minute realized, what was I thinking?
Yeah, there might be a time to just take a step back and go, all right, let's go for the high percentage passing areas. And some people will be able to pull it off in the Billy Mitchell bend, but it's very few percentage-wise.
That's last lap stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, I need to get it done. I need to do it now thing. Meanwhile, watch this. Gallagher gets the draft, pops to the inside. And look at that, Novak going, yeah, I think I got you covered on the brakes down into one, and did a beautiful job of holding off. We had a station yellow, not a full course yellow, but a corner yellow there in one. But now Gallagher.
Here's a great spot.
Did he set that up nicely?
Oh, wow. He made it look easy. That wasn't even, usually it's a lot tighter than that. Now did he sacrifice too much exit speed here? That is a long, long straightaway going into 5.
Well, we're certainly going to see. That's Walsh behind this battle. Sticking right with it, then Wolf and Snyder. Here we go. Yeah, Novak got back by him, but now Gallagher pops to the inside, a little deeper on the brakes. But what happens on the exit? Does he make it work? He did. Novak still got a little bit of a run, but not enough to be able to try and move up into 6, which is one of those lower percentage passing opportunities you were talking about. But this whole thing started when Gallagher opted not to try and make the pass into turn 1, set the exit up, and got the drive down into 3. This is some great, great racing, and this is the chess match that racing is. Thinking ahead, a few corners ahead, what move do I have to make here to be able to make something stick later on?
And that's what's so enjoyable about it. You analyze where you're strong, where your competitor's strong, and if you don't think you're going to be able to make it stick, you might wait till the end of the race and utilize, in that turn 13, push that issue a little bit, get past them, and win the race, instead of being the car in front and getting past. So there is a lot of chess and checkers going on here.
And then getting through corners like the kink on top of it when you're in the heat of competition. Good stuff. So Gallagher now finds himself in that third medal spot, the bronze medal spot. But that bit of racing and cut and thrust has really allowed Reddick and Mayer to drive off into the distance once again. The margin between Mayer and that battle in the 4 spot last time by was about 4 seconds or thereabouts, and that battle was raging. So I think that's going to open up just a little bit more. And the way we're seeing now Reddick open that margin up on Mayer, he's stretched it out now to over a second on Mayer. I almost wonder, like we had talked about in the early part of the race before the caution, if he didn't let Mayer through and just said, I'm going to follow him, I'm going to see what the track has to offer, let him pull me around a little bit, and just see what's happening, because he certainly seems to have a handle on things right now. But again, we still have 3 laps left to run. The margin between second and third, Mayer and Gallagher now up to 6 seconds. So the battling is costing them, but it's providing some great entertainment for us. And Mayer starting to close up just a little bit on Reddick. We're going to step away very quickly here in this battle for the Formula Enterprise National Championship, but we won't be away for long.
The 2010 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Subway, is brought to you by Mazda, Black Magic Car Care Products, Gumout, and Robinson Motorsports.
Forget the rock. Let's roll. Follow your inner driver to the all-new 2011 Mazda 2. It's Zoom Zoom. Concentrated.
Psst.
Kid, where you been?
Just got back from an SCCA event.
Really?
Yeah, SCCA has more than 2,000 events every year.
Serious?
Go to SCCA.com and find people in your area that drive fast and get their hands dirty. And you don't have to be a supercar to compete.
So I go to SCCA.com, sign up, and I can start competing?
It's that easy.
Welcome back, everybody. Again, the national championship being contested for Formula Enterprises at beautiful Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Some great battling unfolding throughout the field. There is your race leader, Scott Reddick, as he completes lap 11 of 13. Matt Mayer sits in the second spot in that yellow Valvoline Robinson Motorsports entry, and they continue to stretch their margin over what has been an interesting fight for that third and final podium spot. And it has changed hands once again as Novak has gone back around Gallagher. So those two continue to swap it, and it looks like Mayer has closed things up just a little bit on Reddick once again. He has brought that margin down to under a second at start-finish, and it looks even less than that at this point. Great side-by-side battling here. It's one of the J Motorsports entry. By the way, Jason Wolf, who is driving the number 23 J Motorsports entry, the youngest driver here, he will turn 16 in 3 weeks. And that is a great development. SCCA this year came up with a new rule that drivers who show that they have the credentials, who are not 16, who are 15 years of age, can be and will be granted a competition license. There's a young man who's run a lot of these races this year, Sean Rahal, who won the Pro Series, who became the youngest ever SCCA Pro Series winner at 15 and a half years of age earlier in the season, then went on to win the championship. Would have been running here, but he broke a foot in riding a motocross bike in the paddock at VIR when he was there. Got in the car to win that national championship, but was still it was a very painful experience, hurting too much to come here and do this. So he had to back out of it. But I think that's a great development to you got people that have been karting since they're 7, 8 years old and have 10 years of race experience before they turn 16. So give them the opportunity. And the guy sitting in fourth right now, Pat Gallagher, just one of those guys, although the savvy veteran in Brian Novak has been able to sneak back around him.
I think it's a great opportunity for these kids to start advancing their career and getting into motorsports arena. Go-kart's obviously a great learning tool and great racing. So I've taught them a lot, and they're certainly showing that they're capable of being out here with some of the best in the United States.
Well, it's amazing. You see these young drivers you talked about who haven't spent all this time in go-karts, and they step into these level of cars. They're so calm, collected. It's like I've seen this before. I've done this before, just a little different kind of car, and it allows them to really just get on with the job. And the job is intensifying because we are on our final lap. 1 lap to go for a national championship. Here comes Gallagher. Got that run once again in the draft. Moves to the inside. He and Novak side by side with Walsh right behind. Gallagher comes through, but it all comes down to how does the exit work. Novak got a great run, but Gallagher exited that turn right where he wanted to be. Novak does not have an answer down into turn 3, but now you've got this long blast down through the moraine sweep with that fall-away braking zone down into turn 5, and Novak is just hoping to get a little taste of that draft once again. And Walsh is coming right with these guys. Tyler Walsh, this could end up as a 3-car battle in fairly short order, and Gallagher protecting the inside part, so Novak goes to the outside. Tough to make it work here. He's going to try for that over-under and make the run up the hill, but Gallagher does the job on the exit of the corner, but both of that little bit of a pass and repass, or at least the attempts thereof, the number 3 of Tyler Walsh joining that battle.
And I like that Gallagher came down into turn 5 and said, you know what, I'm coming to the outside. I'm coming to the inside. I will give you the outside. And it's not a high percentage pass, but I like that there wasn't a lot of moving around there. He made a commitment to what lane he was taking and gave him a shot.
Yeah, and these guys, not a lot of blocking, not a lot of defensive moving. They're very respectful of each other, and that's one of the nice things about the club racing. Yeah, I mean, it's important, it's intense, but the situation is one of those where it's like, we're sportsmen. We want to race this clean. And speaking of racing, Mayer has found Reddick. He is all over the back of Reddick. Mayer gets on those rumble strips, and that's a pretty aggressive rumble strip there. The back end stepped out. He had a great run going, so it's all down to this final corner. Reddick swings way to the outside, trying to open the angle up as much as possible. Mayer a little shallower in, missed the apex just a little bit. It's all going to come down to the run up the hill, and I think Reddick has just enough in hand. And here we go. Scott Reddick is going to become your national champion in Formula Enterprises. Matt Mayer gave it a great run. Now the question is, what's going on for bronze? Somebody has pulled off over there. Here's the run to the bronze, and it is going to be Gallagher. A great drive for that young man. A Formula 5 national championship, another medal in FE. Just fantastic stuff. Reddick doing the job, earning a national championship. Just an exceptional race. And I mean, he had to deal with everything. He had to run from the front. He had to run from the second spot. And late in the going, somebody having a bit of an off here. I think that may be. That's Canada Corner, and that may be Jason Wolf. Just looking at the color scheme on the car, we'll confirm that. But that's the exit of Canada Corner. Obviously, we were talking about it, Bart. Last lap, you go for it. Whatever you could do to try and pick up a position, even if you're not going for a medal, to say you were top 5 at the runoffs instead of 6th or 7th, that's a big thing. You give it your all.
Oh, that's so true. And Canada Corner is very, very difficult. You start coming out of it, and my speeds vary all the way through Canada Corner. But you come out of it, and it makes a little bend to the right. And sometimes you think you got to run on someone, and they're coming over to take their normal line. They don't see you. And I think that's why we saw someone off on the Billy Mitchell bend,
right,
and then right before it. Chances are they knocked wheels.
That is Jason Wolf at Canada Corner, and unfortunately it's Tyler Walsh who had a great run going, so I think you may be absolutely right. They may have had a little coming together, and it was just that Walsh ended up a little bit further upstream or downstream than Wolf did. So, learning experience for these young guys that had those problems late in the going, and for Scott Reddick, bringing home a national championship. That is sweet. What a year he has had, and you consider that he won the sprints here at Road America. And at the top of the show, I was talking about one driver in this field being super sweep eligible. Reddick just won it. And when you can say that, and again, going through the 4 requirements for winning the super sweep, win your divisional points, win the national class structure in your class, win one of those 9 key races, which he did at the sprints, and win the runoffs. That's a tough thing to achieve, and Scott Reddick can say not only is he a runoffs gold medalist first and foremost, but he is a super sweep winner. And like I said, he also won the Pro Spec Racer Ford Championship this season as well. So, good year.
Yeah, he's pretty much filling up his trophy case all in one season.
That's right. Yeah, 1 year. Goodbye.
No, I'll bet you we're
no
going
more room in the house. Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot more of this guy. He's really shown a lot of talent. Shown he could drive on cold tires. Good setup. Keeps his head about him.
It's savvy. I was going to say, and that just comes all the seat time he's getting in all these different classes. This is intense racing. Spec Racer Ford, which, as I said, last race of this weekend, some of the most intense close quarters racing you're going to find, all about carrying momentum. And that translates to any form of racing you do. So he is gathering all the tools right now, for sure, to have a long and successful career in motorsports. And he's just added a national championship to that quiver. Beautiful thing. He makes the stop. There you see Mr. Bizignano, who is getting ready to chat in the Mobile One Winners interview with our Gum Out Pole winner and national champion. And Biz bending down, having a quick chat. And as soon as that helmet comes off, we'll get it down to John for the interview. And you got to, give some serious credit to Matt Mayer, who drove a very smart race, was able to close it up on those last laps. You can't say that Reddick was driving the margin and taking it easy when you get the guy behind you that close. That was Matt Mayer closing in and making a race of it.
Oh,
so
he was.
Congratulations.
They were flat out. They definitely.
Absolutely. A great race. But at the end, Biz, it was Scott Reddick not only winning the gold, but the super sweep.
Well, Scott, the first thing you get is the gold medal here from Bonnie, but I'll tell you you had both hands in the air as you went by. Of course, you're getting the Triple Crown and the super sweep. What a great drive.
Yeah, it just feels great. This is the 3rd time I've gone for Triple Crown. I went 3rd, 2nd. I really felt that this year was my year to take it home.
Take us through that pass in turn 5 down into the lead.
Well, I knew where I was strong versus Mayer, and I really knew that I wanted to make my move into 5 and pull away in the infield before he could hang in my draft. And I was stronger than him through the carousel, so I knew if I led going through the carousel, I'd be in pretty good shape once I got my tires up to temperature.
How hard have you been working for this? How long have you been dreaming about this?
Oh, I went to my first runoffs 26 years ago when I was 6 weeks old, and I've been to a lot of runoffs, competed in 3 of them, and it's just a dream come true.
Congratulations on a dream. Congratulations on all those trophies. Let's go back to Matt. Matt certainly was led this race for the first opening laps. Matt, you showed an awful lot of confidence in your car, cold tires, not quite the exact same setup you practice with. What was that like being out there, not knowing exactly what was going on? You certainly drove the car as if you had done 100 laps with those setups. It was new territory for you.
Well, it was a crazy ride.
Okay, well that sums it up.
Yeah, it was a good ride. The car was set up perfect, and I just adapted to it immediately, and I couldn't ask for anything better from Robinson Motorsports and Valvoline and all my other sponsors, but it was a good car.
Congratulations on your great silver medal. I'll tell you, next year you're going to be pushing for first. We know that.
All right, thank you.
Going back to Patrick. Patrick, you kind of were sitting back there. You qualified third, great qualifying, and then you kind of sat back there watching it all happen, and then you just exploded towards the end. I mean, if you would have started that push a little earlier, do you think you would have been further up?
Actually, the car got great towards the middle of the run. I had the pace to run with Scott and Matt, and just didn't happen there. In the beginning of the race and the end of the race, the car really started to go away. But in the middle, I think we had the pace to win it. So
during that yellow flag, that long yellow flag, were you making any adjustments to it?
I went a little softer on the bar, and then just keeping the tires up to temperature. Everyone was focusing on that.
Well, listen, congratulations on a bronze medal and a very smart drive.
Thank you.
See you next year.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, it's going to be back to you in the booth.
Thanks very much, John. And well, what a great race they put on. Certainly the battle for the lead was very interesting between Reddick and Mayer throughout the entire thing. But Gallagher, Novak, you throw everybody else in the mix who was a part of it for a while. Carter, Walsh, Wolf. That battle for that last podium spot was what this is all about. Intense, close quarters racing. And the nice thing is, as Scott Reddick is going to be heading out now on his well-earned lap of celebration, waving that flag. Well, probably not doing a lot of waving, letting the wind do that for him here today. But the fact of the matter is you in this class, you don't have anybody that can say, well, he had 50 more horsepower than I did. That paid on the straights. He had a much better aero package, with a lot more aggressiveness. The cars are identical. Scott Reddick can look at himself and say, I beat this field fair and square, and that means a lot.
And it's just a great class. It's a good opportunity, one of 6 open wheel classes, and this one really leveled the playing field. It's fun to play with shock adjustments and wing angles, but you look at the speed of development of the Atlantics and the Ds and Cs, and there's so much wind tunnel stuff. This is pure racing, and yeah, him and his engineers came up with the best package.
They did a great job, and as a result, he gets to go out and celebrate, and, of course, other celebrations as well. The thing for him is he's not going to be able to go out and really celebrate tonight because he's going to be running in Spec Racer Ford at the end of the weekend as well. So it'll be a subdued celebration right now for sure. But congratulations to Scott. Congratulations to his crew, that great crew from Hippie Racing. Had the pleasure of visiting with them a few times during the Pro Series this year, and they are a fun group of people. But when it comes down to getting the job done, they put a great race car under this very talented young driver. And the result, a gold medal in Formula Enterprises at the 47th running of Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs.